The Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly known as Zaire, is Africa's second largest nation. The Central African nation that is rich in valuable mineral resources has been plagued by armed groups in its east who are fighting for control. In the past week alone, at least about 40 people were killed in a span of 3 days in attacks by armed groups near the city of Bunia in the Ituri province. The Ituri province has been amongst the worst affected in Congo, with the United Nations estimating that nearly about 600 civilians have been killed in Ituri in just this year alone. In addition to this, at least about 345,000 people have been displaced from their homes. Our next report gets you the details.
The Democratic Republic of Congo ranks among the 5 poorest nations in the world. The impoverished nation has been battling insurgency in its east for decades. More than 120 rebel groups are fighting with the national armed forces for power, land, and valuable mineral resources. The province of Ituri in eastern DRC has witnessed an escalation in violence recently. Condemning the violence, the United Nations sounded an alarm regarding the escalation.
In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the UN Office of the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs is once again sounding the alarm regarding the situation in the province of Ituri in the east, which has experienced a significant escalation of violence. In the past week, at least 40 civilians were killed in a span of 3 days in attacks by armed groups near the city of Bunia. In Ituri this year, more than 600 civilians have been killed, while 345,000 people have been displaced.
These frequent mass killings have triggered an exodus of refugees. More than 5 million people have been internally displaced by the fighting in eastern DRC, besides thousands who have been pushed to the brink of starvation. The massive humanitarian crisis is in danger of spiraling out of control if it is not addressed urgently.
We strongly condemn this violence and call on all parties to adhere to international humanitarian law and human rights responsibilities. To respond to the urgent needs of people impacted by the violence, our humanitarian partners have scaled up their operations. We and our partners have supported 460,000 people in Ituri in the first quarter of this year. The current humanitarian response plan for the DRC is only 30% funded. We urge the international community to stand in solidarity with the people of the DRC and provide the support needed to address this spiraling humanitarian crisis.
An East African Force, or EAC force, was set up last year to thwart insurgents in eastern DRC. The force draws on troops from Burundi, Kenya, Uganda, and South Sudan. For months now, the EAC force has been proclaiming progress, though these upbeat proclamations contrast with what is happening on the ground. Kinshasa has repeatedly blamed its neighbor Rwanda, an EAC member, of backing the insurgents, a charge which Kigali denies. These frequent mass killings in eastern DRC only exacerbate the soaring humanitarian crisis and is further proof that the situation is far from being under control.